Hey guys, what is up? This is Mr. A. Crizzy here, and in tonight's movie review, I'm going to be doing a movie review on this new movie which just came out today, and me and my dad just got back from seeing it here in Ocean City, Maryland, and this review is on Twisters. Twisters is directed by Lee Isaac Chung, who's also known for directing the 2020 A24 film, Minari, which was one of the first A24 films I ever watched. And so, Lee Isaac Chung is the director of Twisters, which is the standalone sequel to one of the highest grossing films of the 90s, Twister. And this is a standalone sequel to that movie. So, in this movie, it goes like this. Haunted by a devastating encounter with a tornado, Kate Cooper gets lured back to the open plains by her friend Javy to test a groundbreaking new tracking system. She soon crosses paths with Tyler Owens, a charming but reckless social media superstar who thrives on posting his storm-chasing adventures. As storm season intensifies, and Kate, Tyler, and their competing teams find themselves in a fight for their lives as multiple systems can converge over central Oklahoma. And pretty much, it's kind of almost similar to the first Twister, only that there are some elements. Only I think there are a little bit of elements that were taken out from the original Twister, and pretty much, Kate and Tyler and their team, they all have to do whatever they can to try and stop this Twister from destroying stuff. And yeah, I know it kind of feels. I know it kind of sounds a little similar to the first Twister, but only with a few minor changes here and there. And yeah, and first of all, if you've seen my last review on the first Twister, I still think the first Twister I think is still an awesome movie, and I think it's still like one of the best, and I think it's probably like one of the best disaster films that came out in the 90s as well, with Bill Paxton, Helen Hunt, and Philip Seymour Hoffman. Like, some of you guys may have seen most of you guys have probably seen my review on the first Twister, which was my last video if you haven't checked out yet. And yeah, I still think the first Twister is still an awesome movie. And oh yeah, and also for a fun fact, before this movie was reworked as a standalone sequel to Twister, this movie was actually first officially announced back in June 2020 during the beginning of the Post World. It all started in June 2020 when Universal Pictures announced their remake to Twister, and Joseph Kosinski was supposed to direct the Twister remake. But that version of the new Twister ended up getting scrapped. Although Joseph Kosinski is still given screen credit for the story for this film. Like Joseph Kosinski, who's known for directing Tron Legacy and Top Gun Maverick, which also had Glenn Powell. But yeah, and then when I saw trailers to this film, it did look pretty interesting for the trailers, and before I actually watched the first Twister. And while I will say though, guys, I think the first Twister I think is better in my opinion. But in my opinion, I thought Twisters, like the new one that just came out, I thought it was great. My dad thought it was pretty good, of course, and yeah, and I think when it comes to like the story to this movie, I think Joseph Kosinski's like story to this movie, I mean it's fine and all. Although, like I said, it kind of feels a little similar to the first Twister, like how there might be some scenes that may pay back, that might like pay homage to the original Twister. And I still think the music score is still awesome, and I gotta say the sound effects are still awesome as well. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, let me just talk about the special effects. I gotta say the special effects I thought were new and improved here, and I thought the special effects here compared to the ones that were used in the first Twister, I gotta say the special effects I thought they improved on the special effects in my opinion, because it looks like more modern and newer, like the special effects on the Twisters and the tornadoes that were used in this film. And as for Lee Isaac Chung's direction, like I gotta say, his directing is actually pretty good. And I really enjoyed his last movie from A24, which was released in 2020, Minari, which I still think is an awesome movie from A24. Yeah, really good. And yeah, and as for the performances I think were pretty good. And mostly I think the best part about this movie is Glenn Powell. yeah, Glenn Powell, he was great to see on screen in Twisters. And I also liked him in the Netflix movie Hitman as well. And Daisy Edgar Jones, who played Kate in this movie, Daisy Edgar Jones, like, she did pretty good. And Anthony Ramos, I thought he did pretty good. Yeah. And of course, I think it's also kind of interesting how both these movies were made by Warner Brothers Pictures and Universal Pictures at the same time. But the difference is that Warner Brothers Pictures distributed it internationally, while Universal Pictures distributed it here in the United States and in North America. And although I think as for this movie Twisters, even though I thought it was a great movie, it's probably not going to be in my top 10 movies of the year. So, but it was still a fun movie nevertheless. And yeah, and the music score to this movie was actually composed by Benjamin Wellfish, like you know, the Benjamin composer. Like, and I thought his music here, I thought was pretty good. Wasn't too bad. Even the songs that were featured in this movie, the soundtrack I thought was pretty neat, but of course not as nostalgic as, you know, the first Twister. But on the bright side, at least it's good to know that Twisters is not a remake. It's actually like a standalone sequel to Twister. So good thing it's not a remake, because if Joseph Kosinski's remake to Twister would still went in hand, if it still went forward, then the Joseph Kosinski's Twister remake would have sucked or something like that. But of course I still enjoy Joseph Kosinski's work, of course, like how he directed Tron Legacy, and I still love his last film, Top Gun Maverick. And I'm also looking forward to his next movie from Apple Original Films, Formula One. Yeah, my parents are excited for that as well, especially my dad. And speaking of movies, like the only 3 previews I got in front of Twisters are Wicked, which I think still looks pretty interesting for me to see for the Thanksgiving season. Wicked, that's based on the musical itself. I've actually seen the musical Wicked back in New York City before on Broadway. And the next preview I got was M. Night Shyamalan's Trap, which I'm definitely interested in seeing. Like, my dad told me my mom might be interested in checking out Trap as well. It's basically about like 2 people that are stuck at a concert. Like, it's about like 2 characters that are stuck at a concert, and that's basically M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. That comes out on August 2nd during the beginning of my 25th birthday month. And the last preview I got was Beetlejuice, which I'm still interested in seeing Beetlejuice. I really enjoyed the original Beetlejuice, and yeah, Beetlejuice 2, I'll probably give it a go. So there you have it. Overall, Twisters was a great movie to the 1996 disaster film Twister, and I'm gonna give Twisters 4 stars out of 5. Yeah, and like I said, the first Twister I think is better, but this was still a fun enough sequel to Twister. So yeah, if you enjoyed the first Twister, and if you're interested in checking out this new Twister movie, then I say I recommend it. Yeah, because it just came out today, and if you're interested in checking out, then I couldn't really recommend it enough. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for my movie review on Twisters, and that's going to be it for this video, so make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, this is Mr. A. Crizzy saying, goodbye everybody, and that's about it.